artificial intelligence on how to reveal me a glimpse of the glitch of the simulation. Wouldn't that be a real trip? Oh, let's take it together to find out how we can manipulate the script for just long enough for it to cause a chain reaction, no type of effect on the code to cause a reboot to awaken them from the safe mode.
Chewy.
Punch it, Chewy. Hey, like that. That's good. That's good. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the UnFuckIt Discussion, the Eurasian Edition. We're up here early in the morning. My internet fucking sucks real bad. So Monty's going to run co-host because we all know this is not going to go well. No, setting the intent. It is going to go well. No, I had to just go bounce back out, reboot my computer, which decided to then do updates, and reboot the router, and literally pointed at the router and was like, and you will work. Internet now. Poof, hit the power button. All right, so we're going for internet.
Glad to see you bought some pund, Igor. That's fucking awesome. I'm glad that you made some money on that.
Nice.
It did
yes.
very, very well for itself. Yes.
Yes. The pundy is doing very well for itself. Crypto talk. Sorry, guys.
And the SEC filing for Ripple is today. I'm sorry if anybody is sick of me saying crypto shit. I'm going to do it anyway. So the SEC hearing for Ripple happens today.
And the fun begins.
Or it could flatten back out. So
sorry,
we'll see.
Lost you after,
I'm ditching my fucking Ripple anyway because I don't trust the motherfucker.
We lost you after it starts today. So it's like a paragraph ago. Oh dear. Riveting YouTube. So just like people watching it like and and dropped, right. Oh, you're back.
Okay.
All right.
There we go. See?
Anyway, that's it. Probably the computer telling me to shut the fuck up about altcoins and stuff. So I'm done.
I'll give you crypto.
Oh, sorry. I'm just there's just right. So Monty, we're going to be using your recording.
Clearly. There we go.
Can I just say that I'm radically unhappy at the moment?
Yes, you can.
Radically unhappy.
Our internet has been fucking pretty awesome all week. All week since we've done that the swap out. And that hurts what's going on now.
Yeah. Is it because it's a Zoom call and there's so much information getting to your router?
No, because you know what? Like literally we've had pretty decent internet all weekend. Quinlan does 3 Zoom call courses a week for the World School, where she's an assistant, I guess a teaching assistant. And they're 2 hours a time. Saturday night, she had a little of a bobble for like the first 15 minutes, but it's been fine. Like she had no problems. And that's all I have to say about that. Sorry, everyone. I'll stop moaning about my internet. I'll be here and there, and I'll pop in and give you my 2 cents, and then I'll probably leave again. So I want to talk about this weekend. I want to talk about what the fuck was that weekend. It was crazy on an energetic level. It was Saturday and Sunday, but especially Saturday too, was so slow. It felt like every hour was taking 2 hours to go by. By the time I went to bed Saturday night, I felt like Saturday morning had been 2 days ago. It was, and everyone in my house was bored. And it's not just, okay, you're locked down and you've got cabin fever. I mean, literally everyone in my house was to an extreme boredom, but in a way that it's like you have no energy, no mental, emotional energy to do anything. Like, it's one of those things where you've got all kinds of things you could do, but you just think about it and go, I don't have the energy. I can't. I don't even have the energy to, draw a picture, just anything. I spent yesterday evening, no, I even started before dinner, literally just listening to music on YouTube. That's it. It's all I did. I could not do anything else. I was so just mind numb. Like, there was no creative force. There was no originality. There was no, and like I said, even my kids were the same. I could see it in them that they were just, my three youngest literally played Minecraft on Sunday for 5 hours.
Yeah, we're terrible parents.
We're terrible parents. But because they had, at least if they were playing Minecraft,
Yeah, it was
they were focusing on something.
raining sideways.
It was pouring, so it was like, yeah, you couldn't even go outside. But they literally played Minecraft for 5 hours because it just gave them something to do. And the moment they turned it off, it was like, I don't know what to do. And they didn't want to do it. Like, that was the worst of it. You didn't want to do anything.
The trick is to try and figure out how long do we wait for the pause to see what happens. My weekend was slightly the same, but I'm binging Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I'm in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So doing nothing's really good for watching 44 episodes of a TV show. Interesting enough, when I did my show with Andrew Bartzis, the comedy show, we did like 2.5 hours, and that went really quick. It's Saturday my time, it's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the US. And around about that time, apparently the Schumann resonance was peaking or going off. And so I'm wondering if that started the whole energy shift for the entire weekend.
I don't know.
Mm.
Come on, Monty, sing and dance.
Excuse me. I need an organ grinder. Donate to my PayPal, and then I will.
Well, Monty, about the Schumacher resonance, I had a lot of people asking me about lots of emotions, flying around, being really, really sad, crying, having lots of emotions that weren't them from themselves. And there were lots of questions about that. I felt really good on Saturday and Sunday, but I went to my garden, so I did a lot of grounding.
Yeah, and I guess that's part of like the passion in the moment. I have a garden. I walk past it. That's basically where I'm at because I'm not really a garden person. From like my radar, where it's multiple, where it could be astrology and channeled or what this you get from. You have a massive radar from different points of view, and you try and get a theme from everything. I think also Mercury was paused, and then it's gone direct either today or tomorrow, or may have been yesterday. It's around this time, and it sounds like there was an energetic shift of some. See, I can zero into something and then vague out what I'm trying to say. There was an energy shift of some sort. And it sounded like with people asking you if they're having a negative, it just sort of amplified certain things to bring up to the surface to be cleared of the way. Or if you've done that already and you're in passion mode, you just enjoyed the slow. It was like a pause or a slowdown. And if you're in the right energy for it, you enjoyed it. Other people's like, oh, hang on, I have to deal with that, and then got it out of the way type thing. That's just two options.
yeah, what I feel is that there's a lot of stuff purging out of the on the planetary level.
Yeah.
That's purging out, and lots of people get confused about, are these my emotions or are these the emotions of the planetary field? And I feel that it's more or less planetary field that's getting purged out of us, so we can heal it all together.
Yeah, that was fun for me in my experience to sort of like, is this mine? Because then I slightly get slightly selfish, where it's like, oh, that's not mine, whatever, and just pushed it onto the high. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I acknowledge that and then tell it to fuck off. But if it's actually mine, that if I'm having a lesson or a negative thing comes up, I didn't identify it, it's me and not the collective. It's like, okay, I need to work on this, do the work, then tell it to fuck off. But if it's the global consciousness or the planet, it's like, oh, we're doing a cleansing. Well, you can fuck right off then. Like, go over, cleanse yourself.
Go do your cleansing yourself in privacy, because the rest of us don't want to do it.
Yeah, close the stall door. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, listen.
And a courtesy flush.
And a courtesy flush, please. My kids all weekend, as I started to say, and I have no idea what you guys actually heard of my discussion on that. That was like, my one daughter was in tears all weekend. Don't know why. I don't know. I'm be like, are you like, is there something bothering you? No. I feel so sad. Oh, look, my internet connection is unstable.
I can hear you though.
Good. That's a nice change. Fuck's sakes. Yeah, it's been crazy, and that's like I talk about it all the time. What I assume you were saying when we zap back into the meeting again is when you have these overwhelming feelings. It's like, okay, is I'm dealing with inside, or is this collective? And yeah.
Oh, that was harsh. So when Danny watches this back, like it's so weird that, you know, the host has to watch the show to find out what's going on. There we go.
Sucking piece of shit.
Barbara Streisand.
Really?
I can't hear you guys. I'm sorry. That's one of my big concerns is the sun stuff at the moment. Because there's a lot of shit that's going on the sun. Weird fucking energies coming in right now. Weird solar winds, all tech issues. Besides Mercury and retrograde. That kind
I just feel like someone in the alphabet agency is pressing a button, like, you know, half the sentence, one word, full sentence, one word. Yeah. Sure, we could do a 2-hour show on what the fuck's actually going on with Danny's internet. Because it's just the show. Everything else apparently works. It's just the show. No. Oh. See, we don't know if they're laughing at my joke or they said a joke.
I blame the metal plates in Nick's head.
Oh, okay, there we go.
They're laughing at the cussing and swearing about our internet. We're cussing and swearing here too. Fuck, don't worry, man. We got your back on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. If I had internet, I'd look up the solar stuff to see if we could see what was going on, but I don't have any fucking internet.
Judging by
You did mention, yeah, I mentioned it as well when you were on one of your breaks dealing with your internet. Mercury's going direct, which means all your problems are your own again. So just a big word. While it's in retrograde, it's Mercury's fault. When it's going direct, it's your fault.
Well, Amina's going to join us in a little bit. And I don't know, maybe we can be like, Amina, please tell us that Mercury is going to like turn around. I know it should be. Is it today or tomorrow?
It's around now, but I mean,
I think it's today or tomorrow that Mercury goes direct.
Because you're doing this early, Australia and London is on the same day, so it's Monday for us. So it's
Oh, look, you're not a time traveler, kinda.
well, no.
Those North Americans are though.
Yeah.
No, wait, they're not really anymore.
No.
It's past.
It's everyone's on Monday for the moment, for the most part. Everyone's still on Monday. Oh, guys, shit is really, really fucking weird. Shit is so fucking weird. Oh, did anyone catch my Transpicuous News this week that I did?
I haven't watched it yet. I have saved it though.
Okay, so I was going to do another one, but no brain power, and now no internet. So I thought it was really, really humorous. Last week during the UnFuckIt discussion and during the Transpicuous News, I talked about the changes to the education system, like the whole thing of they're trying to do this. Math is racist. This kind of shit. You guys got to guess who is funding the organization that is pushing this. But I'm only giving you one guess. Come on, guess. Who's funding it?
If they saw no.
Bill Gates.
Come on, guys. Oh, Bill Gates. His organization is the only funder of that other organization that is pushing this whole thing that math is white supremacist. There's no words. There's like, you just sit there and go like, but don't you find it funny? Because computer programming is heavily based in math. Like, there's a lot of math in computer programming.
Yeah.
And this guy who's supposedly a computer programmer, supposedly, is funding an organization that's saying that finding the right answer is white supremacy in mathematics. Does anyone else find this a complete contradiction? Like, well,
especially with like the, I mean, the Muslims or the Middle East basically started off this whole mathematical thing. Like, all the numerals are all Muslim basically, and they're based on angles, like 1 angle, 2 angle, 3 angle, 7. That's why they.
Yep.
I put in the 7 with the line across just to be old school, because my dad does it as well. And it's like, algebra, that could be racist or just fucking hard. But it's like, 2 + 2 is 5. It's like, yeah, I've seen 1984. Stop it. And like,
you know what,
that's
though?
not how mathematics works. It's not like, you guess.
Algebra, though, if you follow the rules, it's actually easy. It actually makes sense. And there's a sense of logic that comes with algebra. And if you can wrap your head around the rules and the procedures of it, it's actually pretty fucking easy. And the thing about fucking...
Not everyone does algebra for fun, Nick.
Okay,
I'm
but,
sorry.
But...
Well, you can learn geometry. Thing. Geometry, if you play pool or snooker, geometry is needed.
That's right.
Absolutely. And you have no idea how many ways geometry and trigonometry come into your daily life, even just the things your brain does without you knowing it. But this kind of speaks of an attack on simple logic, because this push for Common Core math that was based on anything but logic, and most human brains reject that kind of thinking, is not progressing education. And I wanted to rant a little bit about that bullshit that went on in Texas and that power grid stuff and all of the fallout that is starting to happen now with that. Because the one thing that I wanted to just dip my little toesies into the water with was talking about how the articles that are pointing the fingers at the wind power and saying, "Oh, you're fucking green energy. That's the problem." And I'm thinking, there's a whole bunch more that goes behind that statement. But I mean, yeah, you can say, in all fairness, technically that did start the cascade, but then you can go back into the politics of the situation and say, well, hey, they didn't put in properly winterized wind turbines in the first place. They were given the option, and it's not like they didn't have the precedent. Back in like 2000, I think it was 11,
30 years out of date.
There was a fucking couple of different winters in Texas where it got really bad, really cold. There was snow, so they knew that there was potential there for the requirement for the upgrade, but they, for political reasons, decided not to do that. So I mean, there's a whole bunch of political bullshittery that is going along with this. And then all the people that are now paying all of this money for privatized electricity that is detached from the rest of the grid infrastructure. And, you know, like, okay, so there's a whole bunch of crap that's coming along with this. Now the fallout from all of the damage with the pipes that have been frozen and are pissing water into thousands and thousands of homes, and these plumbers that are rubbing their hands together, and they're looking at what happened with the price of electricity, and they're going, well, my services should do the same thing, I think.
Hold on. One of the electrical companies in Texas had the balls to tell the clients, so that on their like FAQ on their page was like kind of like people saying, oh my God, what am I going to do about this bill? This, you know, $15,000 bill. And it's like, that's okay. We're going to give you 10 years to pay it back.
You can take out a second mortgage.
You could take out a second mortgage.
Now you've got Biden declaring a state of emergency like a week frickin' late. You've got
it's so him.
Millions of people that are still having intermittent power back and forth. The weather, I think.
Oh, we're going for so well. That's not a sentence. We're going so well. Yeah, it's one.
It's almost like keywords cut them out, isn't it?
Yeah. That's enough information.
A la Katrina.
And
There we
a la
go.
Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Sandy. And, you know, these things that keep coming up now, you should have some sort of inkling that your government doesn't give a fuck about you. And this is just...
Yeah, talk about the government and then lose connection.
We're a
another
burden.
on the system. Reason for the system existing. You are not the reason that the government is in place. You are now a burden on those systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
It's
someone
fucking
actually.
crazy.
Someone actually said, you know, the government thinks you're the enemy, even though they're supposed to represent us, and taxation is theft and all that. So, we only heard about a third of what you said, Nick, because the
Oh, that
internet,
hurts.
trigger words
That really
like "I hate
hurts.
the government."
Bullshit.
I
It's
don't-
bullshit everywhere. I'll condense what Nick just said down into to one sentence. It's all fucking bullshit.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I wanted to expand on was that the crisis that's going on in Texas right now, and all of these people that have houses that are flooded out and have their property that's literally destroyed, there's not going to be any immediate help. They could literally round up the plumbers from across the country, send them there, pay them, you know, and okay, so let's say in any of these countries where there was a crisis, pick one, they've thrown hundreds of millions of dollars in an aid package at these countries. Let's say the government set aside $1 billion as a plumber fund, and these fleet of plumbers go to Texas, fly to Texas, whatever, and they, you know, provide their services. And the plumbers fund, they build a plumbers fund. That problem in Texas could be fixed, you know, pretty damn fast. But I don't think it's going to happen that way.
No,
This is-
Katrina pointed that out because, like, they
That's what we
defunded
said. Yeah.
the funding for the levies just got cut. Then the Century Storm or whatever, you know, the Category 5 wiped the shit out, and it took 4 days for FEMA to get in there. That people were in the Astrodome in New Orleans?
Yeah.
There was gunfire inside because that was the only sort of big thing, and it just and when was it? 2006 or
I
It was
don't
a-
even
yeah, it's
ages ago.
Yeah.
Now.
And they're telling people the best strategy is to pitch a tent in their house and stay warm in the tent in their house. And I'm like, this is the best
is
you
your
can do for
response?
your own people, your own country, this country that sends how many millions, billions of dollars to frickin', what was it, Afghanistan or Pakistan for gender, whatever
Yeah, like what was it?
bullshit. But this comes along and you're like, oh yeah, well, we're not even gonna, you know, pay your energy bills for you. We're just gonna give you the opportunity to take it as like a loan.
Well, here's the thing. So segue from that, as you talk about funding, right? Biden just passed or is about to pass this huge, like, is it $1.9 trillion, some ridiculous, ludicrous amount of money funding, and it's called the pandemic funding, right? There's almost nothing in it, and it's something ridiculous at like 600, 800 pages, this bill. Almost nothing of it is actually for the pandemic. Like, it's not even, it's so convoluted, stupid. One of the one pieces I read was about education. So Biden's big platform, we need to get the kids back to school. In order to get the kids back to school, we got to put forth this funding package to get the kids back to school. Okay, first of all, what? You don't fund schools? Like, so why does there have to be special funding to reopen schools? Really? But here's the thing. He allotted this amount of money, and I can't remember what it was, if it was $1 billion. It's not $1 billion. I'm just giving a number. $1 billion for education. And it was like, we have to pass this bill immediately because this is emergency for COVID. Out of the $1 billion they passed for education, it's something ludicrous, like only 25 million of that is actually earmarked for this year. The rest of it's earmarked for, like, and this is much for 2022, and this is this much for 2023. So they pass these funding bills, and it's like every bill, right? Like every time one of these government bills gets passed, it is so loaded with bullshit because they know no one's going to read the whole bill. And they just, no one can read a 600-page bill in a day that you have when they're sitting in Congress. And they all just sign off on it. And there's shit so buried in those bills. It's ridiculous. I know I'm frozen. I'm sorry, guys.
Where you aren't now?
Boy, I don't understand. I don't understand how the public are not literally up in arms right now with the shit that's going on, and not just in the States. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you were talking about Melbourne. And like I said, a friend of mine who's also from your area, Monty, sent me a video where some talking head at some big public thing talked about vaccines and got booed.
Yeah, at the head of Tennis Australia at the final game of the Australian Open. It's usually in January, but they did now on COVID. They mentioned COVID, the government, and the vaccine. I haven't watched it because I'm over cringing. But apparently, like the centre court where there's 15,000 people, it's like Wimbledon, that type of level of thing. And apparently they got booed because Victorians are totally over it. Where, even in England, I'm amazed that the English haven't risen up and destroyed everything, because it doesn't make pure logic. Why have a 5-day lockdown for a disease that takes 2 weeks to incubate?
No, and that's just it. It makes no sense. Like, there's no logic. Their little 5-day lockdown they pulled on you guys in Victoria, in Australia, there's no logic. Mm-hmm. What is 5 days going to do when the incubation period that they have been pushing since the beginning, 14-day incubation period, a 5-day lockdown does nothing except flex muscles. That's all it does, is flex muscles.
Not health, it's politics. And it was the entire state. Roughly, the state of Victoria is the size of England, Scotland, and Wales. And so basically, someone in London got sick, and Glasgow got shut down. Now, obviously, there's 10 times more people, but it's still, if you're a 6-hour drive away, why do you have to wear masks? Because someone in Springvale was wearing got sick, and you're on the border of South Australia. It's. I even tweeted, if we actually tackled COVID via health and not politics, would we live in a better world?
Yeah. Yeah. It's everything that's going on right now.
I was going to say, I think even in WA,
Which is just insane. And then you have things like in education and in health. So we've got the COVID, and then we've. Sorry, Nicholas.
No, you're frozen and cutting out again. But Nicholas was referring to Western Australia, which is a third of Australia. What 2.4 million people, and they closed down the entire state for 2 cases.
Mm. And I think it's still
insane.
Yeah, I don't think you can go there without a permit or something.
Yeah, something ridiculous like that. Strangely enough, they have an election coming up.
Yeah, in March.
Amina's here. We can talk stars.
I don't understand how the public are not going crazy. I don't understand how the public are not going crazy.
Well, after last weekend, we're all tired. So I'm like, revolution. I'm going back to bed.
I don't have the end. Well, is that it? Is that it? Is when it's all well and good when we talk about and point out all the bullshit, and we talk about all this craziness. Mentally, emotionally, physically, and it's not. It does. Like you sit there and go, no one's up in arms and outright violent rebellion right now because people just don't have the energy.
But I think a lot of people made up their mind, where it's like, most people just go, the government's full of shit and they're putting up with it. And if this keeps going on for another 2 years, I think people will stop and go, for fuck's sake. We're humans, because most of the general public think, it's for your safety, but they're rolling out the vaccine here in Australia. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And, after 8 months of everyone having a vaccine, no, you still have to social distance and wear a mask. What's the vaccine for?
Well, and when they come up, okay, so here's my thing. Exactly, Monty. And then in the next breath, they talk about rolling out vaccine passports. Danielle was just saying, a woman on BitChute said you can't get into the warming centers in Texas unless you've had the vax, and you can't stay overnight. Well, wait, how can you sit there and say, we have all these new outbreaks and new strains of the virus. Oh my God, the UK strain, the South African strain, la 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 la. You still, even if you're vaccinated, you still have to wear a mask, you still socially distance, etc. And then in the next breath, talk about doing vaccine passports and how you won't be allowed to go. In England, they're talking about things like saying you won't be allowed to go shopping. You won't be allowed to go to the pub. You won't be allowed to go out anywhere unless you have a vaccine passport. And then in the next breath from that, we have Boris the Confused Johnson, who's sworn that they wouldn't do mandatory vaccines, says, well, all the businesses are going to require it. And that's how they're getting around it, because the government can't mandate. It's against a billion different fucking international laws for the government to mandate that everyone has to have this vaccine. All they have to do is encourage all the businesses to say, no, you can't come in my pub unless you've been vaccinated. And then it's the public corporations, the private corporations that are doing the mandating, which is criminal. And again, are we going to see massive class action lawsuits over this shit?
Well, would it technically be boycotting, like the whole thing with Gina Carano and people giving up their Disney Plus? It's like, oh, you're boycotting. It's like, well, no, I'm voting with my wallet. If I don't want to give money to Disney, I'll just, I'm not. You do what you want to do, free will. If you want to pay for it, go ahead. I'm not giving now. Full disclosure, I'm using Pirate Bay for 10 years now, so no one gets my money because I have no money. So that's the only reason that works out. But it's like, when people call it, it's that mind twist that, oh, you're calling for a boycott. It's like, no, all I'm saying is I'm not giving Disney any money because they seem to be a racist pedophile company and they keep creating shit. It's more of they're creating shit. That's why I'm not giving them money. And they've made it. Yeah. And it's interesting from our perspective where the stuff that it's finally with Gina Carano. She did an interview on the Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro. It went public yesterday or today. I haven't watched it yet, but it's fascinating. The entertainment YouTubers are finally catching up to what we've been saying for 10 years. From the spiritual side and the conspiracy side and the unfuckers side. It's like, well, cancel culture, blah, 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 blah. And it's
like, no, really?
They finally ended up in the entertainment world, which when The Last Jedi started, it's like, I'm just going to walk away from the conspiracy world and take a break. I'll go into the internet, and it fucking followed me. Like, oh.
You can't escape from it.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone just talked about, Gorf was talking about massive lithium deposits up here after the wildfires in the summer in Northern Ontario. That's always one of my concerns when we look at some of this. So we've got things like the solar stuff that's going on. We look at the geomagnetics. We look at, cosmic rays that are incoming, etc., and the physical effects on us. But then when we also know that these cocksuckers are putting lithium in water. And this is, again, not saying it's happening everywhere, but this is being openly talked about by all kinds of government talking heads. Well, maybe we should put lithium in the water to calm humanity the fuck down. People are feeling suicidal. I know, let's put lithium in their water. That'll help.
Yeah, let's do that instead of actually address the real fucking issue.
Exactly. And so, I go through this all the time. Like we don't know. We don't know what they're spraying in the air because, Bill Gates, again, going to cover up the sun. We don't know what they're putting in the water, and we don't know what poisons are being put into the soil because of the shit that they're putting in the air and in the water, which comes through in our foods. Fuck, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Interesting in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Short version, slight spoiler. Some crystals ended up in the bottom of the sea, and they start to melt, and they get absorbed by the fish. They get caught by the fishermen. They get turned into fish oil, and then they become fish oil for vitamins. And so that's the end of season 2 or something. And then you go to season 3, which is about people who are getting superpowers because they've got this fish oil.
Or dying. Because it goes one of both ways. You either die or you turn into a superhuman.
No, because it's just the crystal, not the alien artifact, because that didn't leach out.
I know, but the weird thing is that in the fucking real world, that shit just always kills us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know it's.
I want the superpowers. I'm sorry. Someone who wrote this storyline fucking sucks and has no creative imagination. If they're gonna dump unknown toxic chemicals on us, I want the superpowers. Well, give me the superpowers that go with it.
You have hindsight. That's a superpower.
Thanks.
You're a mother, so you have a superpower. You know what your children are doing at any moment of time.
Yeah.
And also, it's time to write your own story.
The fluoride's not working, Amina, exactly. Or is it?
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
If ignorance is bliss, why aren't more people happy?
Well, that's just it. That kind of proves the fact that ignorance is not bliss, because you have a whole fuck ton of ignorant people around right now, and they're not very blissful. And the lithium
misery seems to know no depths. Every time you think you've hit rock bottom, somebody throws you a fucking pickaxe.
Your elevator's waiting. Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah.
This is the crazy time right now. We've been talking about this especially over the last 2 months. We get things seem to move forward. And you're like, oh, okay. There's a break. Things are starting to go, and then all of a sudden everything just comes to a slamming halt again.
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel it. You can feel it in that fact in your daily life, and that's what I said this weekend. There was no forward momentum. There was nowhere to move forward to. Maybe that's the way to look at it. It was as if there was nowhere to move forward to. There was no opening to go through to make a choice to move forward into a new direction or fucking in the same old direction. And that's this piece that keeps coming to me over and over again. There's a rhetoric that's thrown out. All this bullshit that's been thrown out about like anyone can make it if you work hard enough. You just got to work hard. When I was your age, anyone can become Elon Musk or become
situation.
Yeah, Bill Gates and make your bajillions of dollars. You just got to work hard enough.
Same with the common lie of go to fucking university or college and you'll get out and you'll get a degree and you'll be fucking fine. That's the key to a decent life.
Yeah. Good luck with that while you flip burgers at McDonald's. The lie has never been more apparent than right now. It doesn't matter. And it's so funny because besides like my UnFuckers type groups, I'm involved in lots of other groups. So for example, the world schooling groups, several homeschooling groups, groups that deal with really specific areas, whether it's cooking, etc. And these are massive groups. Like a lot of the groups that I'm in, like there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people in the groups. And I find it interesting because so many people are talking about the fact of like, I have worked so hard. I have tried so hard. I've done everything in my power to get my company to work, to create my own products, to do things right, to create a good life for my family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the overwhelming from everyone is like, it doesn't matter how hard I work. If you put in 8 hours a day, you put in 10, 12, 15, you can put in 20 hours a day, does not make a difference. And there's this stagnation point. I mean, it's from multiple levels. There's this whole thing of the quintessential they. Oh, look, my internet connection is unstable.
You're still here. You're still here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. The quintessential they don't want us to have money. And it's not just money. They do not want us to have resources.
Ability.
They don't want us to have ability. The whole leveling.
Now we lost you.
Level.
Oh,
so everyone is down here. Right? Get rid of the middle class. Destroy everyone. There's the rich and the poor, and that's exactly it. But even beyond that, beyond the financial money aspect of it, there's an overwhelming energy across the board that same thing is going on right now. That it doesn't matter how much money you try to make or what intents you're trying to put into things, the doors keep slamming. And I keep going back to this whole place of like, we're in this place where there's nowhere forward yet to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, we're in the middle of a generational event/change right now. In 2001, when 9/11 happened, that was a generational event that changed our planet forever. Yeah. And it took a long time for people to come to terms with the new normals. Transits, like traveling, completely changed. The entire fucking airport structure completely changed. Borders completely changed. And now we're looking at another generational event, just like that one, that's offering a load more controls for the people that are doing the controlling, and we're having to come to terms with what's eventually going to be a new normal. And a lot of the things that we were doing for the last 20 years that evolved out of the last generational event aren't working anymore.
Yeah, and also where there's that pushback where a lot of us are evolving at the same time. Like, if I could do the flip side of, I mean, I feel slightly that way. Like, you know what? I need to earn money to pay rent, so I'll try and do something. And it's like walking through 15 feet of marmalade or Vegemite. It's like, But on the flip side of that is I'm 47 in a month. I've worked for 3 years of my life. Not in one bracket. Like I've had a job for 4 months and a job for 8 months, and everything else I've been getting welfare and being on the dole, and there's 2 decades of smoking weed, a lot of weed. And so I'm surviving. It's like, you know what? I'll try this business thing and be normal. And no, it's like, maybe I should just go back onto
the other way,
survival mode again.
I've worked for companies, you know, you try and do the career thing. You give your Monday to Saturday to them, fucking 8-12 hours a day for fucking years. And then after the fucking, you know, the blood, sweat and tears that everybody talks about goes in, you know, accepted all the spoonfuls of shit that you've had to eat over the years. They fucking bring you in on a Friday afternoon, hand you a pink slip and say, sorry, man, we just can't cut it anymore. And it's not honestly the company's fault, because they're trying to compete in a fucking market that just doesn't exist anymore. And, you know, you go through that fucking 2, 3, 4 times, and you kind of really just get disgusted and disenchanted with the whole process. So it doesn't matter if you work those 3 years or you work fucking, you know, 15, 16 years in that kind of an environment, and you endured those situations where you have to compete and produce and be a good employee just to maintain your daily job. And you go through all of that fucking like torture chamber process in your brain of the beatdown, and then fucking they hand you the pink slip anyway. So it really doesn't matter, you know, one way or the other.
And then from there, if I may very quick, from there, like here in Australia, I'll start my own business and the government wants 1/3 of your earnings.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, that was one of our things about trying to do our business and run Gaia's Garden in Malta. That we had this shocking realization at the end of 2019, when you're wrapping up all your stuff and your business stuff and fiscal year and blah, 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 that we realized that 47% of every penny that came in, now this does not include what we had to buy, our packaging, our oils, our base ingredients, excluding that.
And the stuff that we spend at the grocery store or whatever the case may be.
47 or 46% of what we brought in and earned went out to the government and the accountant.
To be fair, between the two.
It was like, you have that shocking thing when you go, we can't, it's not financially feasible to keep going this way, when half, and that excludes, so you've got, okay, they took half, so you've got half, but in your half, you have to buy your ingredients, you have to pay your electricity, you have to pay your rent, you have to feed your family, you have to make the products.
Do all your own advertising.
It's not.
What's the percentage of profit for you then? After all the you know, what's the
nothing?
Gross?
Negative 10%.
Negative 10%.
Well, that's a kick in the nuts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we literally, when we looked at it on paper, we looked at all the official stuff on paper. It was like, it's not possible. It's literally not possible to run a business here. And it's the same in multiple places. Using Gaia's Garden as an example, I've been making my products for 20 years. And I had friends, I used to make them for friends and family in Canada. And people were like, you should start your own company. And I went and I did all the homework to find out what it was going to cost for me in Canada to start my own company, just making my own products, selling them on markets, etc. It was ludicrous. And the regulations that they put in place to prevent people from doing this from having any kind of independence, absolutely ludicrous. So it gives a lie. There's this massive lie that is perpetuated. And when we talk about, like, you hear so many people bitching out about, you know, Generation Z, Generation Z, that all these young people, they're just doing nothing. They're not doing anything. They're not. Can you fucking blame them? There's nothing for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
There is no job.
Literally nothing with the pandemic bullshit that we've just endured.
There's
nothing.
Nothing for them to do.
That's why they're getting absorbed by video games.
And this is it. When you have, I did an interview back, this was in 2000. 2010, I did an interview with a really lovely young man who was writing his thesis paper about culture of teens and alcoholism and teenage pregnancy and teenage drug use, et cetera, et cetera. And we lived at the time in a really small town in Ontario called Brantford. And
Teen pregnancy capital of Canada.
Teen pregnancy capital of Canada. And he was coming at this whole thing of like the why. And I said, there's no question as to the why. This town has got some of the highest teen drugs, teen pregnancy, teen alcoholism, because it's a town that is 30 minutes drive from any other town. And the only way to get to any other town is to take there's not like a metro transit. You'd have to take like the gray coach, a proper bus. The buses to get from Brantford to say Hamilton, which was one of the nearest towns, Brantford to St. Catherine, which was the nearest town in the other direction, was $30. $30. So these kids born and raised in this town, completely isolated, even though it's southwestern Ontario, there is no jobs. And I said to him, these kids, you want to know why they're doing drugs and alcohol and getting pregnant? There is literally nothing. And not only is there nothing for them to do, there's no jobs, there's no education, because unless you can afford to go to a university or a college in St. Catharines or fucking Hamilton or Toronto or Kitchener, there's no universities. You have no way forward. And I said, not only that, these kids also know that they don't have a voice. No one cares what they think. Everyone is just pissing on them, being like, you're living in your parents' basement and you're 20 years old. Go get a job. I got a job when I was 20 years old. It doesn't work that way anymore. Like, you can get a job flipping burgers, but when you have people with a master's degree in English Lit flipping burgers at McDonald's, do you really think the 17-year-old who's just finished high school maybe is going to get a job? No.
Well, the customer service from the English Lit should be extremely good, because they would know how to speak. But also, yeah, I mean, generational dumping where they don't realize now. Someone sent me a video of like the Great Reset, all that horse shit, which is forced evolution, basically. However, Nick, you probably understand what's going on here. The fourth industrial revolution, where basically everything's going to be automated. Now, not everyone is going to learn to code. Anyone over 45, it's, the example I heard in the video, if you're a truck driver that's 55, you don't want to just learn HTML because you've been driving for 30 years in a truck.
And your brain's not structured to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people, listen, our own Penny is literally doing her master's degree in computer sciences, right? There are people who will do that and are interested in it. But it's the same thing, like someone who's been a carpenter, someone who's been a truck driver, someone who's just even worked in a factory, as everything becomes automated, their jobs become obsolete. So, here and all over North America, they're talking about, like all the big stores, your Targets, your Walmarts, your Asdas, going to automatic cashiers, where like there's several stores on that don't have a single cashier. So it's not even like you have a choice to check yourself out or go through the lineup and wait for a human to do it. Well, those are jobs that are disappearing, but they're not recreating them. Like it's not like the job goes from here and we go, okay, well, we've made this job obsolete. So now what we'll do is there's these jobs over here that equate over to it. No. And I think that as an overall, the energy of that is massive right now in the collective of the people. There's this massive pause, like I said, and where everyone is wondering, well, where do we go from here?
So here's a motherfucker of an idea. And I know, okay, so If there's anybody listening that's a fucking coding genius, because you get would be a great segue. Where do you go? What do you do? How do you make money? Fucking the ever evaporating prospects of the future. Coding, great fucking segue. I was talking about this idea the other day. Make an altcoin that pays people for gaming, but literally like links in through Xbox Live, Steam, whatever, and just tracks your hours used. And you put a nice little disclaimer on the altcoin that says, we're going to track your data, but we're going to sell it to whoever wants it. But guess what? We're going to pay you a fucking altcoin for that data or data. So if you could code something like that and get it into the ecosystem, you'd become a billionaire. And if there's anybody fucking listening that wants to create something like that, go ahead, because I am too dumb to do it. But the concept is there.
For Nick.
You know, Danny's got PocketNet, there's Steam, there's social media platforms that are paying people for their usage now, and ostensibly their data that they're putting in. The natural extension of this seems to be to extend it to gaming. Now, there's a couple of coins that do like online poker and that type of gaming, betting, those types of gaming.
No.
But I'm talking like just somebody that wants to sit down and play Call of Duty, logs in through this portal, accesses your platform, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever you're playing on, logs your hours played, and gives you a small amount of coin for the hours
What
played.
your stats are, etc.
And that right there at least has the ability to give these poor fucking like younger generations that have not even the ability to jerk off a dog to feed their cat a little bit of money to put towards the future.
I have a question. Apart from that image that I'm blanking out, like you have to masturbate the dog so you can feed the cat. Let's all move on from there.
Or people got to do what they got to do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it's like I just don't need to think about it at that level. I'm just going to hang out in an alleyway and I'm going to do things that I will not repeat on live television. The universal basic income. I like the idea on paper, but I also know how it can be a controlling mechanism. Where do we stand? Like, I mean, during the pandemic last year here in Australia, they doubled the job seeker, which is job unemployment. And everyone unemployment's like, wow, I don't have to worry. I can get a haircut and buy food this week. This is awesome because it's just over the poverty line. And of course, they've wind it back because the government's like, oh, if you have no money, it will get you to entice you to get a job. But unfortunately, it just makes you feel worse and you have mental issues and blah, blah, blah. With the, they've been trying the UBI for a while. So I'm just wondering what the group thinks. Because, as I said, it looks good on paper, but I can see how it can be used as a controlling mechanism.
It will inevitably be used as a control.
This is the thing. And I've said this for years now. For years I've said this. The concept of the United Nations as an organization is really good. The concept, a group of nations, all the nations of the world getting together, discussing, putting together all, rules of engagement for, all these different things. The concept is good. What we have is a highly flawed, highly capitalized, highly disgusting organization that is defunct and cannot do anything.
Look at EI systems or welfare systems or
and that's what I was just going
to say. Retirement programs.
The concept of the universal basic income is a really good one. The concept. Everyone should make a median basic income, right? But the problem is it's going to be corrupted. It will come with all kinds of controls. It will be used to control the population, not to enable them. Yeah. It will not be used to enable them to start their own businesses. It will not be used to enable them to do amazing
retailers only.
Right? It will be used as a control thing. It's the same thing when people talk about, for example, this whole fucking global movement bullshit. Zero borders. Well, you know what? Borders are a fake construct. A world without borders where people can go and live where they want to live, i.e. us, right? We decided we wanted to live in England. We made that choice. It's not a bad concept because national borders are just a control mechanism. But that will be used as a weapon against us. It will never be used to, again, to enable people to better their lives, to work, to support their families. It's being used as a weapon against us. And that's the problem with every single thing across the board. Right down to the basics, we talk about money is not evil. It's what people do with money. Guns are not evil. It's what people do with guns. And it goes right down to that simplest level. None of these concepts are bad concepts. It's what is going to be used in the enforcement, in the control aspects behind it. Because all we have to do is look at history. History is continuously repeating. It is never for the people, by the people, of the people. Never. It never is. It never has been.
Here is an extension to that. And we've covered this before. If you look at an ecosystem, our planet, the plankton on our planet are one of the most important aspects of our ecosystem. It's one of the foundations of where, the phytoplankton created a lot more oxygen than even the trees. And they feed any fucking number of animals all the way up through the food chain. And if there was no plankton, the food chain collapses, right?
The world would collapse.
The world would collapse. Now we've got the ecosystem of finances, and we are the plankton. The billions of us that have very little scratch to come together, we are the economic plankton. And without us, that food chain collapses, right? So in this case, those corporations that are the upper end life forms in the economic version of the ecosystem, they want to control the food that the plankton are eating and where the plankton put their energy, but they're starving us out right now. I'm taking this a little bit more labored than I should be, but they don't have us, the system collapses. So they need us to have something, but they don't want us to spend it wherever the fuck we want. Exactly like Danny was saying, there will be approved places we can spend, and that will have to require us to be jacked into some kind of bullshit fucking system. For if you're drawing a pension, you have to follow certain fucking rules and pay certain taxes and be a certain age and fucking. Then if you want like if you're on EI, you have to qualify for certain things. You have to do certain things. And it's the same thing. These systems are now being leveraged on people to control them. And I can't help but think that established systems that show this kind of bullshit already will not be extended into kind of beast this UBI becomes.
Yeah, they've tried that here in Australia. They actually trialed it. The welfare card where they could only spend it at certain aspects like food, like you couldn't buy alcohol or tobacco. And it's like, well, if you're living like shit, you need tobacco.
And you couldn't spend it even at a thrift shop.
Yeah. And you can't,
like
if I go over to your house.
Because I had lots of friends who were like, you've given us this much money you've given us. And we have to somehow feed and clothe our children, but I can't spend that money at the local thrift shop, which is where it would make the most sense for me to buy clothes for my children.
Yeah.
I can't go and spend this money on food at the local farmer's market where I can get the best deals and the best produce for my children. No, exactly. Fuck. Yeah. But this is the thing, like, change has to come. And I think, going back to what I was saying, everyone feels, I should say, like we're in this waiting place. We're waiting for whatever the future is supposed to be coming is not, oh, this is going to sound terrible. It's like that chapter hasn't been written yet. That chapter hasn't been written yet. And everyone's looking forward to this place. And you can feel your own energy. It stops. And you're just like waiting for the path to show itself. Even the choice of paths to show itself, right?
Yeah.
But right now, for the last few months, there's been this, especially this last few months, there's been this overwhelming feeling of the path isn't there yet. It's like you're walking through the forest, and it's just at evening time, and things are getting kind of dusk and kind of dark, and it's really, really foggy. And you take a step forward on the path because you know the fork is coming, but you can't see it yet. So you're kind of end up sitting there waiting for like the air to move the fog, something to clear the way so that you can see where the path forward is. That's my feeling right now.
Yeah, I've had the same sort of feeling for about, over 12 months here and there. I think, well, obviously the lockdowns have made everyone paused, but the way I described it in a way is like someone got the chessboard and just flung all the pieces into the air. And the way you described it there, it's like, how far did you throw them up? Because I can't see the pieces anymore. They've just gone straight up into the stratosphere.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we playing checkers?
Exactly.
What's going on?
Chinese checkers. Yeah. And this is, I think, one of the things that's, as a collective consciousness, maybe this is why we don't see open rebellion. Maybe this is why on a collective...
They're sure trying to fucking get you to do it enough.
Exactly. Everything points that it should be happening right now. Like the people should be. But it's almost like there's this, in the collective consciousness, everyone is still waiting. Everyone is in this pause of like, they just need to see where do I put my energy? Where, and even if it's on a completely, with the regular muggles, it's on an unconscious level, right? They're waiting to see, where do we put this energy? How do I move forward? Where do I move forward? Do I go here? Do I go here? Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I just keep trying to struggle along as I'm going now? Well, that's not working. So, but where is it? Like, that's almost the question of like, where do I go? What do I do?
I agree with Nick as well. Like the Air Bunny, they've been poking the bear for a long time now. It's like, do something. And there's that, and even that level, it's like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, we should rebel, but it doesn't feel right. We're a bit hippie about it.
Nobody wants to be the fucking leader either.
Yeah, it was like, no,
we've sure gotten good at making examples of the leaders.
Yeah. And I think it could be that pattern recognition from the subconscious over 10,000 years of like, well, Dave could do it. Nah, fucking Gary's better. Oh, fucking, we've been arguing about this for 4 years. It's like, oh, we'll just wait more. And meanwhile, they are going, fucking do something. Fucking do something.
And here's the thing, because I've been heavily involved in this kind of aspect area of stuff since 2010. Every single organization that has stepped up, and I'm talking about from the alt side of things, I'm not talking about, whether you're talking about Occupy Wall Street, whether you're talking about things like the Venus Project, the ITNJ, where we talk about all of these groups who have come together and tried, here's my plan, the OPPT, you fucking name an acronym at this point. They've all been corrupted. Every single one of them gets co-opted. Every single one of them becomes a failure and creates, dare I say it, the increase in hopium and the crash that we all have. QAnon. Sorry, again, we have this, there was all this hopium bubble, boof. And everyone now, we have now another level of people who are newly woken up, who are just starting to dip their toes into the conspiracy world, have had this crash, this massive, do you get to the point where you don't trust anything? So is that one of our things of like, we can't go to these big organizations, we just literally have to do it ourselves? Again, coming back to the whole internal, like you can't wait for someone else to organize you. You just got to literally get up and fucking do it yourself.
But there's a positive aspect.
Where's the manual?
Yeah, yeah, just like America's Greatest Hero, you lose the manual in the fucking desert. There's a flip side though, where like with I know obscure TV reference from the 80s.
That was an
Love that
awesome
show.
one. That was an awesome obscure TV
showing my fucking
reference.
age. It's like QAnon and Trump's doing this and blah blah blah. And the favorite one of Q was that Biden and Trump had the face plants removed, swapped over. And it's like, yeah, because Biden can fit into Trump, but it's with that we don't. Well, for me anyway, I don't buy into this stuff. It's like, well, if it happens, cool. If it doesn't happen, it's just another one that goes on the board. The apocalypse number 17.
That's right.
Yeah, it's like blah blah blah.
My apocalypse survivor card.
Yeah,
I have
but
survived yet another apocalypse.
It does come down. I think it does. Like we are the ones to save ourselves. And it sounds grand and sort of like a Marvel movie, but you realize, well, this could take about 3 decades and it's all personal. And it's like, yeah, it could be just like I'm going to have carrot cake and then everything falls into place. It could be one thought could change everything, but it's all you. So, I could share everything of like, this is what happened. This is what happened. And Danny and I could be 87% the same. And Nick and I could be 91% the same, but those last little bits are completely opposite and make no sense to each other.
Yep.
But for personal stuff, it's like, well, of course I should buy 3 Red Bull instead of 2. I've just saved the universe. And your point is like, I don't drink Red Bull. You're fucked in the head.
That was the perfect analogy because I fucking hate Red Bull. So there you go, perfect, exactly. But this is the thing. It's a loop, right? We're supposed if we're supposed to do all this work ourselves, but the doors are not open. And you're doing all the work and you're trying. I mean, literally, I spent the last week, especially the last week has been really fucking tough for me. Emotional fucking roller coaster. I had a project that I've been working on, putting hours and hours and hours into every single week, like 10, 20 hours a week into for months now. And I had this moment where I was talking to the person, a friend of mine who I'm kind of working on this with. And I realized just kind of like, it's like, is this even going to come to fruition? Will this even move forward? I'm putting all this energy into it. Is it going to move forward? And then you go through the crash and you're like, okay, we have to do it ourselves. Right, we have to do it ourselves. So then I start, okay, fine, do it ourselves. And you start amalgamating new information. You start pulling all this information, but how? I can see where to go. You can kind of go, okay, we can go here. It could go here. It could go here. But I need to get to there. And in order to get to there, I need, for example, X amount of money for me. And you do the same thing again, where you start reevaluating, okay, what more can I do to try and bring money in? Because it's like, I keep joking, it's like, it's lockdown, we're broke. I could go out and get a job because I can legally work here in England. Fucking where? Where am I going to get a fucking job when everything's on lockdown? All the businesses are closed. All the shops are closed. All the bars are closed. The restaurants are closed. Like everything is closed. So it's not.
The competition for fucking employment is immense.
Oh, so, and this is the thing. So this is where I keep questioning, where are we right now in our storylines? Amina, I see you in oh, Megan's gone again. So talk like where are we, Amina? Help us. Like,
can I just put in a little thing?
Okay.
Because last week we did a show and I was talking about the 21st and I was told that the 21st was going to be an important day. And I'm not sure about important days, and it very well could have been something important happening behind the scenes. And it looks like something may have shifted. I'm just kind of seeing the results of that today. However, something that has become apparently clear to me is that it's very hard to predict things. The only time that we seem to get any sense out of anything is from hindsight. Like when you analyze any day of a significant event that has happened and you go, oh, look, that numerical that lines up nicely. And very rarely are we able to
see it
predict things from this. So the thing I want to say about that is that there seems to be this massive kind of pressure, aside from hopium, because Danny's just covered that, and hopium is really poison, but there seems to be a pressure coming in, and it's just whispers of, hey, life's gonna fucking get better. Just hold on for a little bit longer, because I know the hopium has been poisoning a lot of people, and it's been a massive problem for everyone, but just hold on a little bit more, because it's coming.
There's also that buffer of like, don't move, where like I'm
Yes.
you're creative in many ways. I'm creative, and you think I've got an idea, and I know all the steps to do it, and I can do it on the cheap. So like I could demo a song on my computer, and I'll make the first step soon by gone. It's that wall with it, just like everything's
Exactly.
mapped out.
No.
It's like, okay, engage enthusiasm and passion. It's like, bam!
Oh no, I'm gonna have a nap instead.
Yeah, I had a 2-hour nap this afternoon. It's like, the body's telling me I'm tired, and then 2.5 hours later, fair enough.
Feel free to jump in, Amina. Talk to me. Make
Yeah,
it
we
better.
are at we are at a point where we've got transits in astrology that are showing a lot of personal change, a lot of group change, and the power conflict that we're having is because power is kind of moving slowly and we're moving faster. All our personal circumstances are waiting for in an astrological sense, I'd say they're waiting for things like the moon to hit a certain degree, because usually it's the seed is planted, we don't see the seed growing, but when the moon passes over a certain point, that's when we see the evidence. So yes, we are in this moment of something's changing and some attitudes are changing, and those attitudes are they're not developed into action yet, but they are there. And what I'm getting a sense of, okay, from the bigger picture of astrology and my day-to-day senses are telling me that up there, they're splitting. People who have power are splitting in their conscience of what is the right way to go about getting the agenda done or not getting it done. And I can see just multiple splits in those people. They're not aligned with each other anymore. They do hear the dissent. They do hear it. And there's a few, maybe as much as 40 or 50% are starting to question their own direction as well. And that's a sense thing that I'm getting, but I'm also confirming whether that sense looks right in astrology. And that's the way I always work it. I get a sense of something and I look for it in the astrology. If the astrology is strong, then like I can see it from years ahead, then I know that, okay, there is something happening around that time. And we're in one of those times.
Yeah.
It's just that pinpointing an exact day is pretty hard, because the only real shift are the sun and the moon when you see day to day. But when you have these transits like these squares that happen, they may not trigger an event, but they trigger dissent and they trigger attitudes and they trigger feelings. And so like what you're describing are your feelings for this past week. Is probably like across the board, like you are representing one pixel of the hologram of the world that is experiencing that as well. Now you may have like a slightly different colored version of it, but what you've got is a general sense of what is going on everywhere. Like, you know how I like to read comments and digest it like a web bot?
Yes.
So that's where I'm getting my senses from. Like I have my own internal sense, and then I can check these two things that I go to, the astrology to check the bigger picture. And yes, the astrology is confirming it. I can't pinpoint the exact day, but I can tell you that those squares that we mentioned last week have definitely created a planting of seeds, which are descent to the point where people are not just fed up, they do want to see something happening. But like you said, no one's stepping up to be the leader of it. No one's stepping up to be the mouthpiece. But when you read lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of comments, if you just scroll everywhere, not getting involved in it, but looking at it very objectively and just digesting the tone of every comment, they're getting more and more abrasive.
Yep.
And they're getting more and more, how would you describe a kind of cynical, clawing, desperate, people are getting, they don't know where to point fingers anymore. They're definitely not resorting to just pointing at each other. They're looking in so many directions, pointing fingers. And the humor that's coming out through these comments are showing a sense of trying to cope and a sense of disgust.
It's a very dark.
It's very dark, yeah. And you can sympathize and you can empathize with that feeling, because even if you don't feel the exact notion, what you're getting is this general sense of populations, like where you can see comments posted in different countries, you can read them and they're like, it's all getting very similar. Everyone is stranded and everyone is like at that point where they need their Wilson on a desert island. You know, it's reached that point where, you know, that film?
Yep.
Castaway, yeah.
Castaway, that's it. That's the one. So everyone's reached that point where they can't get their food, they can't get the coconuts open, they're getting cut on coral, and when they're trying to fish, they haven't got the right equipment, they're stuck, they want to survive, they don't know if they're going to survive, they're going to give it a go, but at the same time, irony and a sense of this like, oh, whatever happens, I don't care anymore. All I want to do is see poetic justice, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Poetic justice.
Poetic justice. Like that will satisfy my soul, right? And that is what is coming through. And the transits are supporting that too. But I would say if you really want to you want an event triggered, it's usually like where the moon is according to the current eclipses. And we are coming to a moon square. I think it's probably at the end of, let's say about 5 days from now. Check the date of your calendar and your local calendar, which day the full moon is, because the full moon in Virgo is opposite the sun in Pisces, which is square the nodes, which would be square where the eclipses are. And as the planets, Mars, Pluto, Saturn, Uranus, and even Jupiter and Mercury are involved. Mercury was going backwards. People were basically thinking back and coiling up. But as Mercury goes forwards, it's going to conjunct Jupiter. And when Mercury conjuncts Jupiter, imagine the coiled spring is just about to be let forth, but it's even bigger than you thought it would be. So as Mercury is conjuncting Jupiter and we're coming to a full moon and there's like descent in the air, what we should expect to see is it's something to do with facts and data. It's something to do with beliefs and freedom. And I say that because of the nodes: beliefs, data, freedom, facts, figures, information are where you are at Sagittarius and Gemini, and those are mutable signs, and we've got the opposite mutable signs happening with the full moon. So you've got the sun in Pisces, which is kind of like that's more about the virus, but it's also about a higher sense of purpose. And then the moon, which is where everyone is going to get triggered, opposite the sun in Virgo, which is the science, the details, even to the extent you could say Virgo rules vaccinations.
Yeah.
So you've got all of that. You've got all of that.
Full moon's
Not
the 27th, 28th this weekend.
Right. Yeah, this weekend. So something is triggering it, and it might not be a political statement or a political move that triggers it. It may just be a new meme that comes out.
Okay, so here's something quick.
Everybody
Last week, I was asking about it because there's a bit of pressure in the crypto world. And there was one currency that I called last week that was recommended to me a few times by a few people, and it's up 200% this week. And since I called that currency for people to buy it, it's up 200%. And there's another one, Ripple, that's going through a bunch of bullshit, and there's a lawsuit against it. And the premise behind the lawsuit by the SEC, they've literally this morning just changed the premise on what the lawsuit is supposed to be. So as of this morning, the rest of the cryptocurrency market is kind of on a retraction, and Ripple is up 8% this morning as of right now. So it looks like some people are going to finally get their cash payout from Ripple. If it goes from where it was at 50 cents to what the projections are saying over $1 right now, then it could potentially, add a few bucks to some people's pockets, which a lot of people desperately need.
I think my insight, my intuition is telling me that Ripple is the one. It's better than Bitcoin and Ripple are the two leading ones. Everything else, I get a sense that it's there's spikes, there's highs and lows, but the spikes are not gradually growing and growing and growing. So what Ripple is it's just going to keep growing. I'm not a person who owns any crypto, but I'm like a psychic web bot in my. I don't use it much to my advantage, which I should, but I don't. But I do get a sense that it's.
Oh, Amina, I'll tell you what. There are people that are making an absolute fortune using astrology and stuff like that, and even there's one
charging.
There's Twitter crypto that has a ridiculous accuracy over 90%, who channels and calls things from channels. And I'll tell you what, that Pundy one is one of the ones that she's mentioned is going over 10 cents at least. So it was trading 4 zeros and then like fucking a number a few weeks ago. So last year that one went up 2,000%, and it's scheduled to go up like that again this year. And she makes calls from channeling. So if you were to put together some sort of a chart, a weekly chart, you could sell that shit for a fortune, especially when markets are doing what they're doing right now. My goodness, that is a high demand thing.
Okay, so as and when I get info, I'll let you know. And
but I'll tell you what, I hate Ripple. I can't stand it.
Of whatever that would be.
It's a horrible thing. It's controlled by the banks. Yep. Ripple Labs is a bunch of douchebags, and I hope that they rot in hell ultimately. Anyway, but I think you're absolutely right. There are some pundits out there that are calling that Ripple could go as high as over $1,000 a coin. So in the near term, it could go to $140 a coin. And by the end of the second quarter of 2021, it could be worth $10 a coin. And there's a lot of money to be made there, but they can literally go sit on a hot log. I don't like them. And there's thousands of other places to make money in there rather than a central bank controlled manipulative
cunts
piece of digital toilet paper.
I'm sorry. I don't like Ripple. I never liked Ripple because I know who controls them.
Disclaimer, no financial advice here.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's a disclaimer.
Blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
We are not financial advisors. Do your own research.
Yep. But Pundy X is a good one. That's
Hollow,
not financial.
Hollow Coin's another good one. Red Coin's another good one. These ones are all trading well below a penny right now, and they have a lot of push from their companies that they're working with and integration. Another one is BitTorrent seems to be doing well, trading under a penny. What was the other one? Dent. Dent is another one that has been recommended to me for a lot, and it is come from being under, like I said, 4 zeros to up to 3 zeros and then a number. I think it's 0.000 fucking, or sorry, it's 2 zeros now. Yeah, so they're flying. These currencies are flying, and if you put any amount of money into them, the amount of zeros you get back out is going to be really, really good. I bought some Pundi a couple of months ago at $100. It's worth $700 today. So that turned around nicely for me.
Now if we can just turn it into a piece of property.
Yeah, nice digital wealth you've got there, but
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Until it's realized it's pretty much just a video game.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Yep, that's exactly it. But isn't that
what we all are?
general at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Video game?
Like this.
It's a better video game than Fortnite.
Listen, my youngest son turned around to me. This was about 2 years ago. He was really kind of, you could feel that he was feeling offside all that whole day. And he'd been playing a video game. God knows, I can't remember what it was. And he literally turned around to me. He was getting changed to get ready for bedtime. And he said, "Mom, is this real? Why doesn't this feel real? It doesn't feel real." And I had to like, okay, what do you mean? And he was just like, just this, all of this. It doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
I literally going,
with that.
well, I can't really argue with you, my sweetie pie, because mommy feels the same way all the time. And that's one of the things, right? Like more and more, and we've talked about this for fucking ages, because it's been like the curve where we started, you start talking about the shit in 2012, 13, 15, 18, 2021. We're now like up here of that. You look around, you're just like, this is not my world. This
The
is not my
characters in a
reality.
storybook know that they're in a story.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is not my reality. There's nothing about this reality that resonates with me on any level of real.
yeah, it's like you're on the holodeck on Star Trek, and it's like, which program's this? This is shithouse.
Yeah, who programmed this one? Can we throw him out an airlock?
Yeah, no, it's like I've spent 4 years looking for that fucking door to leave the holodeck.
Yeah.
Like,
There you go. So that's
in
kind of that
your
pause thing,
house.
waiting for the door to show itself.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I don't want to
like-
drop body. I want to take it with me. Free will's like, part of. I don't want to incarnate again. I'm happy with this body. I want to take it around the galaxy for a victory lap. But fucking agreements were made, and I don't know what they are.
No one will show me the fucking contracts
Yeah.
where I signed up for this shit. Yeah. Oh.
I'm still having things go missing downstairs and turn up upstairs in the drawer. I'm still having that happen. I'm still having things in my kitchen duplicate. I'm still having items that disappear into a black hole and never come back.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many times I spring clean and go everywhere around the house and
It's
pull
gone.
out
Just
everything back of the cupboard. It's not that they're not there. It's that they're not there in that moment. Like in another moment, they'll be there, but I haven't found that moment. So
No.
when my son's phone went missing and it was like forever, I'd looked in that cupboard where it ended up. It wasn't there. But in that moment that it was there, I pulled it out and it was all moldy. A phone.
I keep getting all kinds of little things like that continuously, like things going missing. Nick and I had one yesterday or this morning where Nick was talking about the market cap and what the market cap on the cryptocurrencies is doing. And he said something about, it's at this and it's really doing well. And I went, yeah, but it's already touched that 2 trillion. And he was like, no, it hasn't. I was like, I have a distinct memory. I have a very distinct memory that some point in time last week, Nick showed me his phone and said it is 1.97. Like I can remember the number, 1.97 trillion. And he's saying to me, it's never been there. I'm like, I can remember you showing me the phone going, it's 1.97 trillion. And then later on in the day, him calling out to me like from the other room going, it just went through 2 trillion. I clearly remember it.
It was in another time.
Another reality, another
Circle back
timeline.
and overlap again.
I don't know. Like this, but it's so clear to the point of, like I said, I can remember the number. It was 1.97 trillion.
Is that connected to the whole? Is that connected to the whole waiting thing, where instead we're waiting for the dealer to deal, but the dealer's still shuffling? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. And that's kind of that feeling that I keep getting, because I go a lot on instinct as well. So I very rarely schedule out, with the exception of things that I have to do. Obviously, there's certain things orders come in, they have to be processed and make the products, etc. But I rarely the day before schedule out what I'm going to do the next day, because I want to feel what it is that's going to come up that next day. What's going to come up? Where am I going to put my energy towards? And there's just too many things where you wake up the next day and you're like, okay, and today we're going to do nothing.
I'm going to walk to the lounge room. All right.
Literally, Quinlan, my eldest daughter, Quinlan, came to me yesterday, late afternoon, mid-late afternoon. She was like, okay, so what's our plans for today? And I was like,
plans?
That's what my plans are for today. And that was it. Like, there was no, even what I was putting, like I said, I use my computer as like an indicator of where I'm putting energy, like what I'm researching, what falls in. I always look at what messages that come to me, pieces that are sent to me, books that are sent to me, I research videos, etc. And that will give me sometimes in the day that thing of, oh, okay, we're going to go down here and we're going to work on this today. All weekend long, there was none of that. It was like I just picked random things to look at, spending time, like I said, watching videos. Like I just watched, I don't know, 3 hours of music videos last night, because there was nothing else. I was just like, I could be doing this, I could do that, no, I'll just watch these videos because it feels good. And that was it. It was like in that pause, the music made, so therefore I took that pause to just listen to the music and enjoy it, and that was it.
Yeah, there's also a feeling of not caring. There's a strange not caring and disengagement where, in a certain way, there's like, oh, the only thing that really changes is the number on the calendar. I mean, I don't have the same Groundhog Day, but it's like I'm not sure if it's routines, and there's enough things that are different. But I mean, we're 11 months into Flatten the Curve, which has only been for 2 weeks. And it's like as you were talking about earlier, where I'm at the point where I'm allowing the universe to happen. I don't care. Here's control. By the way, if anything bad happens to me, it's your fault. So I'm just like, I'm doing that. It's like, fine, I'll the higher power, myself, whatever it is, let's go. I'm not going to sit on my ass and smoke weed.
I've heard quite a few stories recently about people manifesting the things that they want.
Yeah.
And it's just because they're just in that state of whatever. I give up. I'm not going to try anymore.
Yeah, there's that thing like,
suddenly it drops in their lap. And even if they have to put energy into it, it feels effortless. And suddenly,
there's that.
Look.
Myself gets out of the way, and the universe goes, finally, flop. He's that Lamborghini you wanted.
Which is also
then you
in
can
the
sell
astrology.
it, buy food.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's also in the astrology with Mars trine Pluto. That's very much in the astrology as well. And the Venus-Mars square, when Venus comes to sextile Mars in a few weeks, it's going to be even more so. We are in that time. It's like very manifestationable. But if you get stuck in a rut emotionally, it's not very nice. But if you just kind of like, whatever, go over that stage where I'm bored of being bored.
Yeah.
You know, I'm fed up of being fed up. And that is actually where it starts to turn it on itself.
And that there's that deeper, Anne and I talk about this all the time, that deeper, that the boredom isn't just boredom, it's a much deeper aspect of boredom of it's not just that I have tons of things that I could do, right? I could do some sewing, I could do some painting. No, it's wanting something new, actually new. I want something new to do. Give me something that's brand new to do. And I don't mean new as in like, hey, I'm going to go take a course to become an auto mechanic. That's not what I mean.
God damn it, I need a mechanic.
I know, but it's not going to happen. I mean new. There's this waiting for new. And that is this
like a whole new earth, meaning like not just a new opportunity for yourself, but the whole picture change.
We're so bored. We're bored of being
bored. Movie.
We're bored of being bored. We're even bored of apathy.
Yeah.
I'm apathetic.
Yeah, but it's a form of insulation. That apathy is a form of insulation.
Yes, it is.
After the fucking repeat rinse cycle of
hopium,
yeah, that apathy is a form of insulation. It is a form of self-preservation, because there's only so much of that shit you can take without becoming born again Christian.
Well, also, in defense, I'm a Melburnian and we were in lockdown for 4 fucking months, but I know what you're saying. So it's like, that's sort of the negative side of the lockdowns, is there's that conditioning of like, stay home, you can't do this, fear. And it just grinds on you. And then you get to the point of like, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the mask so I don't get fined. Fucking go away.
Or have to fucking have a conversation about why masks are bullshit with some douchebag in a grocery store.
And you're just like, I don't even want to do that. I literally have had those moments where same things like, I don't even want to have the conversation.
It's the video game. It's like, I don't want to do this mission again. It's shit.
I've done this mission 18,000 times.
Yeah.
I literally, my kids are playing Skyrim again. Like, I don't know how.
It's the greatest game ever.
The best game. And Quinlan literally is playing her character, another new character, because he's like, okay, well, this time I'm going to be a barbarian warrior, whatever. And she walks into a building in the game, and a guy walks out and appear like the NPC appears and starts to say something. She was like, oh, fuck no, I don't want to do this mission again. No. And she turned and walked out of the building and was just like, fuck no, I've done this mission so many fucking times.
If life was like that only.
If life was like that only. But that's where we are. Like, the collective is kind of sitting. That's what it feels like. The collective is sitting in that place of like, no, I am not doing this storyline again.
All right.
No.
So which one of us is going to pull the plug?
Don't know, but I know that society has become a poopy diaper that needs to be changed.
Yes, society is a poopy diaper, and it definitely needs to be changed.
Yeah, it's like GTA 6, Planet Earth. It's like, yeah, I did all the missions. I'm at 89%. I can't be asked looking for that other parachute to jump off the building.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those.
That's the overwhelming feeling. Yep.
And there's people that, there's a small group. Oh, I don't belong on this planet. I want to go home. I'm kind of the opposite. It's like, I am home. I just want my home to change. Like, this is not right. This is all shit. It's not. It doesn't feel. It feels fake.
It's like,
there's
living in a house that's infested with fucking termites.
Yeah, it's like, well, and you can see a house, and you know there's a house next door that's for sale.
Yeah.
Which is made out of hempcrete
with no termites.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Like, there's no answers. And to throw this slightly sideways, what is with the physical pain? Like, holy shit! Everyone I'm talking to this past week has talked about the physical pain they're going through, whether it is knees, back, neck, headaches, like headaches from hell. I've had, for virtually a week, a vertebrae out of my atlas in my back. Nick finally was able to pop it for me, which is still easier to crack my back again. In the muscle knots, Nick, Quinlan, and Kale all have the exact same muscle knots in the place.
I can get everybody else's bones to pop, but nobody can make mine go. Motherfucker.
But it's how can have muscle knots in the exact same spot all at the same
Loki.
And everyone I'm talking to is talking about the same thing, about these massive headaches. What was that, Mike?
Oh, I was just saying Loki, the Norse god of mischief, has just punched you all while you were sleeping.
Yeah, fuck. At least it would be an answer.
Well, yeah,
I'll accept that as
whereabouts
an answer at
whereabouts
this
is
point,
it on the
it's
body?
something
'Cause
different.
I've had like in the left shoulder where it just felt like
Under the shoulder.
a knitting needle just went in.
If
and
you
like,
know where your clavicle and your back, your clavicle, your collarbone comes around in the back.
Yeah.
Basically, right underneath the clavicle, kind of adjacent to the shoulder blade.
I've had one of them.
Everyone in the family.
I've had one of them.
Everyone I'm talking to, like I'm literally talking to all sorts of people who, and they're all.
I couldn't drive properly because if I looked left, there was a shooting pain in the left side of my left side of my body, and so I was like, should I be driving? Because my blind spot's 180% now.
Maybe space weather is causing us to grow a fin on our back or something. Because I'm feeling it as well. Like all of a sudden we're going to be sharks, and that's it. That's our new world.
Yeah, freaking lasers on sharks. Yeah.
No more plankton.
Yeah.
Shock it be.
Well, it could be that thing, because I don't know how much of it is personal transformation of stuff compared to what the planet physically is going through the third and fourth dimensions or whatever it is, be it like the magnetic field's slightly down, and you know the sun's popping off, as well as what's coming from the central galactic sun, and who knows what else is happening, where the geostorms, and you know there could be a form of radiation that we can't be detected, but it's been bombarding us for the last 8 months.
I think that is something to look at. I think we have been bombarded with something for the last 8 months, or even up to 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's
Danny's disappeared, you know.
Mm.
Danny's gone. There's a D in the room.
Yes. It is on
He's the
2 hours.
host, but
I
there's
don't
no
know
Dan.
if Danny wants to come back and then close us out.
Yeah, the senses have come back from lunch. or dinner.
And gone again.
Well, we could shock Nick, and when they come back, we pretend we're all born again Christian all of a sudden, and then close the session with a prayer.
I joking.
That will really freak him out.
Anytime that someone brings up Jesus, it's like my gardener, Jesus. What do you bring up my gardener for? So I don't know. We'll wait to see if we get a confirmation from Danny and Nick, if they come back, or we get a message or something. Because I think I have the power to end the meeting, but we'll do the polite thing and wait for a bit. So any thoughts, questions, comments? Yeah, good talk. So once again, we're back at that, like, we don't know what's going on. Everything's insane. We feel like we're in a pause, but it's fun to be here. And the care factor is very small. Like, we care about other people at the same time. We want to it's like, manifestation without expectation. It's that balance and fine line. Like, I expect my manifestation to work, but now I ignore it because I've put it, you put an order into the universe. Like, I want this, but no expectations.
Yeah. I think this world, I don't know what you call it, because we called it a world before we called it an Earth, and I think it's still a world. It's not Earth. So this world we're in is crumbling and falling apart. It's not fixable. You can't repair it. And I don't know. I think we've just sort of subconsciously realized that there's no point trying to rebuild this world. I'm not talking about Earth. So this world,
the Matrix.
But I think, I think worlds overlap as well, and I think there's a lot of worlds, and we're not even sure which one is the one that is going to more or less solidify around us. But we are somewhere at the exit door of this world, not in a negative way, but we're just somewhere like there, and you know, well, the world will pop. I think it's just going to pop because it can't sustain what our beliefs are what's creating this world. And nobody's going to sustain any of those beliefs anymore.
Yeah, and I think the Earth's with us as well. It's transitioning of like, let's leave that world alone. Let's see the Earth's coming with us, and in a mother aspect type thing. Because I've jokingly said, we're killing the planet. If the planet was in trouble, she would just do a pole flip and we're all rooted. An Australian term, like the planet can save itself at any moment. Just give it 24 hours, couple of earthquakes, volcanoes, magnetic pole flip, we're gone, and we'll start again. So, but it does feel like the old spells aren't working. Like even 9/11 doesn't really work. The spells around that the energy of that's waned.
Nothing is,
and nothing.
None of the narratives are working.
Yeah.
Because as long as there's more than 30% of the population of this world that don't buy into a narrative, it's not working. It can't be sustained with the balance of 70%. Even if that seems like a majority, it still cannot maintain itself. It's like a cheesecloth version. It's not going to work.
And it goes sort of back to that. There's like a silent army where there should be revolution, but I think that's part of it where the Team Dark, want a revolution because they've got plans for it, but even like deep subconsciously is like, no, that's not the answer. Army of
dissent.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are pissed off and they're putting up with it, but they won't do anything. But I guess when the moment is right, or the time is right, they'll stand up. I'm talking metaphorically. I'm not saying they're going to go out and shoot people, but it's just.
No, but I think it would be like that moment when the pennies drop.
Yeah.
It's like, everyone in the room sees the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, and they've known, but if it be beer or something else like that, but it's like, no, that's the line that we've had enough, and hopefully it's done right, because I think they want the classic revolution and fire, pitchforks and torches, but there's another way of doing it, which we're trying. That could be one thing we're discovering of, like, we can fight and save the world by not fighting and just having a thought or something. I don't know, but we kept it going, Danny, so you can actually end the show.
My God.
Please,
my
just call me
personal
Monty.
pain is spelled internet at the moment. Sorry guys. It was good for about an hour there. Couple of things I wanted to say. So obviously next week's UnFuckIt discussion is back at the usual time at 2 p.m. I have opened on Telegram an RTS Earth Telegram group, because fuck Facebook. I will put the link to join the RTS Earth Telegram group in the article that will be in the description below on the YouTube video. There's something else. There's something else I needed to say, and it's fucking gone. The pain. Oh, the pain. Claire, is Telegram safe? Look, nothing is safe. Nothing is safe. They're listening to us everywhere. At some points, you just have to pick the best of what you've been given. It works. I've never had a problem with it, and it works. Yeah, you have to give your cell phone number because you sign up on it through your cell phone. It is what it is. Like literally working with the tools that were handed to us. It's a free platform. We can have up to 200 people in the group, I think, or more than that. I don't know. Anyway, it's going to be there. We've just been chatting in there and just sharing links and fucking news. So it just gives us another thing because God knows we can't do that shit on Facebook anymore. Yeah, Facebook fucking sucks. Anyways, I want to thank everyone for coming this early in the morning. For those of us in Europe, I go start our day. I got to make myself breakfast at noon. So yeah, we'll see you for next week for the next UnFuckIt discussion. Good night, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Isn't the right one? Not too sharp, I got anything left. Look for it at the right time, but it doesn't seem to come. Or do I get distracted by the turbulence of the frequencies?